I want to share with you a true story of how one person's psychosis is another person's strength and hope. When I was about 15 years old, my mother was hospitalized for many months in a psychiatric hospital because of bipolar disorder, and psychosis was one of her symptoms. And in this book that I got from the library, it was written by a psychiatrist with apparently a very lovely hospital in the country for rich people. This fellow shows up in his clinic. He's written 5 case studies in this book, and this is the one that struck me, and I never forgot it. So this guy shows up, and he says, he says, this is what was happening: is I was drinking, I was beating my wife, I was cheating on my wife, I couldn't hold down a job, I was gambling, I was terrible to my kids, I was just terrible. And one night I got into a bar fight, and I ended up out in the back in the alley, and I was kind of banged up. And when I came to, I see this little leprechaun sitting there and looking at me. And the leprechaun looked at me, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he says, "Well, now you've gone and done it." And he starts telling this doctor that this leprechaun is reading him the riot act, and he's just let him in like that, that this is enough. And so he changes his whole life because of this leprechaun who never leaves him alone. And so now he's got a good job. He's involved in his church. He's wonderful to his wife. He's wonderful to his kids. He doesn't gamble. He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. He's just like the ideal person. And he's changed his life completely around. And the doctor is so amazed. And he says, "Oh my God, so why are you here?" And he says, "Well, my family is making me come. My wife says she's going to leave me unless I get some help." He says, "Okay, what do you need the help with?" He says, "Well, they say I shouldn't be seeing this leprechaun. So until I don't see this leprechaun, my wife is thinking she needs to leave me." And the doctor is so confused and says, "So let me get this right. When you were beating her, cheating on her, couldn't hold down a job, gambling and smoking and drinking and all that, she was willing to keep you, but now because of something that's helping you be better, she wants to leave you?" And the guy says, "Yeah, that's what's going on. And I do love her." The doctor says, "Oh my goodness. Well, I know how to fix this. I want you to tell everyone who, now that they know that the leprechaun is there, if they ask you about it, just say, 'It's okay. I'm speaking with a doctor and I'm much better.' And just leave it at that and come back and see me anytime you want to talk about them. But you don't need to do anything more than that, than just not include them in what's working for you." Oh, I know it sounds really out there, but I read this and I went, "Oh my gosh, I understand." And what I took from that is that before we judge someone based on our own worldview, life just isn't that black and white. I mean, can you imagine if he'd fallen on a doctor who completely bought into the medical model of pathologizing and labeling this patient as his family and his friends had done? I know people who've been hospitalized against their will and medicated, but they were not even a danger to themselves or others. They were just odd. Sometimes I'm odd. People are odd, and it's okay. They're stressed. So I bought into that notion myself, I have to admit. While working on the front lines of mental health services, I was a crisis interventionist. And now that my mom is gone, and the world is finally becoming aware of how trauma affects us and how we can heal ourselves, but also what kinds of tools are out there if we open our minds to them, I'm realizing there's a whole world I was absolutely unaware of. So this is what I've come to discover through all the trauma research that I've done. Even among us who finds life really, really hard, deep down, no matter how broken you think you are right now, by tapping into your core values, you can find meaning and healing within yourself and the world around you. We all have the power to be compassionate and courageous and clear and calm. We all have that power. And even if we have unusual coping skills or beliefs that will get us through the day or to that place, we all deserve to feel seen, heard, and respected. Now, although I'm no longer a mental health worker, I now help people pleasers and do-gooders tap into their personal power to finally find serenity and success. So if you're ready for some coaching, reach out and let's have a confidential conversation and see how I can help. Take care.